Welcome to Lauren the Pecuniary Coach podcast, where we speak about life experiences, relationships, financial business, parenting, self-care, and more. Subscribe, like, and share to hear more juicy topics.
So, what's going on? This is the podcast that we're about to do. We got Nene as a guest, but Nene, I gotta have them know how you know me because everybody introduce themselves when they come on here. So you gotta tell us how you know me.
Well, I'm Nene. Everybody call me Nene. And Sierra is my sister-in-law. I'm married to her brother. And we've been knowing each other for years at this point. I've been knowing her brother since we was kids, like teenagers. And so me and her brother had been together for like 13 years in the beginning. Then we separated for 10 years. And then we're back together now and we married. So a lot has happened.
Amazing experiences. Anybody can be with their baby daddy for 10 years and then marry him, that's experiences. So we're going to get into the topic, and the topic is, what have your past relationship experiences taught you?
Okay, let's see. So I can only base things off in the beginning. For me, my first lesson was with your brother. And I was 14. I think your brother was like maybe 16, between 16, 17. And we ended up having a kid together. And we was together for like 13 years. And
that young love.
Right. So your brother was like my real first love. He was my first everything. Everything. And just the way I was raised as a young girl, my mother was a provider and she always took care of her man. She didn't cater to him, but she cooked, she cleaned, she was always there for them. She, until you did something that caused her to not want to be with you. Right. So I took a lot. And then when the kids started coming, I was taking even more. And you also have to understand it's young love. So I haven't experienced anything. So I didn't know nobody else. So I stuck with what I knew, which was my kid's father. So just I put up with a lot of stuff. So fast forward for that, we ended up breaking up because of, cheating and things of that nature. And then what ultimately did it was he had a baby. So what I learned from that was I cannot allow this situation to change who I am. But I also had to figure out who I really was. Because all I knew was him and us. I didn't know how to be by myself. My mother didn't raise me to be by myself because she always had a boyfriend. So even though we don't want to do the things that our parents did and be better, I ultimately end up doing the same thing.
When you got to learn yourself, how did it happen?
First, I was in denial that that's what was happening. But at the end of the day, your brother helped me to appreciate that that's what I was doing. He pointed it out to me. And it wasn't like I couldn't be by myself. I was just used to having a companion. So then at some point in time in my life, I was by myself.
Right.
That relationship really helped me to understand a lot about myself, how strong I really was. And it boosted my confidence about myself a little bit more because, again, it was me and him all the time. We provided for each other. That's all we had. So now he gone. He in jail. He got a whole other baby coming. And I got to do what I got to do because I've been home. I was homeless. You know what I'm saying? When he went to jail. So I had to make something for nothing.
So you came back. In the end, you came back to this relationship that you had started as a teenager, which you knew nothing. And you came back to that.
Because one thing I did know about, as long as we've been together, I'm a type of person, I observe people a lot before I just jump into stuff. I'm real funny about being social with any and everybody. So I have to have some type of good down-to-earth rapport with you. And your brother, for instance, as long as we've been together, I really knew who he was and where he came from. I knew the behavior that he was doing was a typical kid. They never experienced life either. So we knew we were both young. We ain't experienced nothing. So eventually we knew at some point, that we were going to end up breaking up anyways, because we don't know nothing. All we know is each other.
You figured this out as time goes on. You grew up together. And when you grew up together, you figured out what each other like, what makes each other happy.
Who you are, what kind of person you are. And so your brother is really a good kind of person. And when we were together and the struggles we went through, he was always there. He never left me abandoned. Even when we were struggling and homeless together, we was doing it together. It was so much so that the boy slept on the streets when your uncle moved to Grand Prairie so he could stay close to me and his son.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? You just don't overlook those things because people cheat.
That's sacrifice.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. When we hear as females or people in general hear, oh, he cheated on me or she cheated on me, we instantly, in our minds, we get leave. Is that true? Or do you think
I didn't.
in your situation, it was a little
I didn't leave because he cheated. I cheated too.
Wow.
But I cheated, not to excuse it, but my reasons in my mind for cheating was because he wasn't there for me when I needed him. Meaning, like, he was always in the street. He was always hustling. He would kick it and put everybody else first before me. But I was at home taking care of the kids because that's who I am. I don't put nothing before my kids. So at that time, I wasn't going to no clubs. I wasn't turning up. I wasn't partying. I was a full-blown woman, wife, whatever you want to call it. That's what I did. I went to work and came home. I didn't party. I didn't kick it. I didn't do any of that stuff. I did what my mama taught me how to do, was to survive and pay these bills.
When you did all this to become this woman, in the meantime, what did you learn to make you feel that is a life learned lesson that you had? So, for instance,
first and foremost, I don't have to put up with nobody's stuff. Yeah. Nobody. I don't have to do this no more. I don't have to sacrifice myself like that no more. You know what I mean? So when he went to jail and I was by myself and he was gone for like 2 years, I had to build myself up from scratch. He left me at my brother's house with 3 kids and 1 on the way. I was so broke, I couldn't even have an abortion. I was so broke, I couldn't take care of another kid. But lo and behold, God helped me through that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not one to even think about having abortions, but it was something I had to think about and consider on some real stuff because I didn't have nothing. All I had was the clothes on my back and what my kids had. That was it. But I built myself up. By the time he came home, I was a completely different person.
How do you build yourself up? You're going through all this. You got this hardship. It's so many people that cannot build themselves up. How did you sit there and say to yourself, I'm going to build me up, and then actually accomplish to build yourself up?
I was already tunnel vision on making sure I did my priorities, taking care of my kids and making sure we had a roof over our head and make sure I could provide them with the things that they need, not what they wanted. And I stayed with my sister-in-law and my sister-in-law, my cousin. She allowed me to come stay with her. And I stayed with her with all my kids in this one bedroom about the size of a closet because she lived in the projects. Wow. Which I was grateful for. And me and 4 of my kids slept in this one room. And I endured a lot at her house too. That's when I started seeing a lot and started paying attention more. And so she lived down the street from the housing authorities. And I went and I asked my cousin, can you watch the kids for me after I put them to sleep? I'm gonna go up here and I'm gonna stand in line and so I can sign up for housing. That was the first step. I had to provide shelter. Mm-hmm. So I slept outside in the line to sign up, just to get my name on the list so I can receive some type of benefits. I stayed there for a year, my housing came up. So I got public housing and I moved to Oak Cliff out here in Dallas, Texas. And I stayed there for 5 years in public housing, waiting for my Section 8 to come in. You know what I'm saying? Because now I want a house. And so during this time frame, your brother gets out of jail. He did a whole 2 years flat. And it was so weird when he came home. So weird. I was smoking weed. I was smoking cigarettes. I wasn't doing none of that stuff. Life was kicking my butt, but I was still moving forward. Mm-hmm. A lot of self-reflection, a lot of still living in the past, trying to figure it out. He comes home. At some point, we get into it, and he want to move because he don't like the atmosphere. Nah, bro, we're not going. See, at that point, that was me standing up. I don't have to take this no more. You can leave. We're not going nowhere. You can't supply us with any shelter. You don't have nothing. Why would we get up and move from something that's permanent? So you're not making any sense.
This young girl that comes from 14 comes to now being structured, standard, tall, big. When I say structured, standard, tall, I'm saying standing up for what she know at this point, what she have learned so far to be able to take care of her and her kids in life to the man that she once upon a time fell in love with. This was her first, this was her everything. And she said, no, this is what we gonna do because you knew the way. That's kind of how it worked out.
Yeah, I said, you can leave. We ain't going nowhere.
That's what's up.
If you cannot provide stability and security for your family right now, why would we get up and leave? Why would I do that?
That was a learning experience right there. You just said
it was no more. I'm following you everywhere you go. Because during the time frame when me and him were together before he went to jail, we was living from pillar to post until because we kept, we had our own place at some point at a couple of times, but at some point we ended up being homeless again, looking for another spot. You see what I'm saying? So like, no, we're not doing that no more. I'm not living with anybody else. I don't have to. It may not be everything I want, but it's working so far. So you're not making any sense. Right. You just don't want to be here because you feel uncomfortable.
Right.
I didn't even sleep with him when he came home. I was excited. It was just awkward. Like, bro, you can sleep on the couch. I'm not ready for any of that.
Wow. Let's bring this out to the viewers and say that is showing self-respect. Just because this is what you know, this is because what you had in your past, don't necessarily mean you should be comfortable in those situations where you might have to stand up and say, look, until this get right, I'm not doing nothing that I used to do in my past. Until I get my feel back on me and my swag, if you will.
Yeah, like, bruh, if you ain't got nobody's job, you still hustling in the streets. And then what's so cutting about it, when he came home, he realized he couldn't do that no more. So now you got to do a real job. And I'm still trying to help. I'm still trying to build. I'm still trying to encourage. Go to school. You want to do this business like that? Go to school. This is the prime opportunity. We live in a housing project. Rent ain't but $25, bro, $50. Go to school.
Right. Don't be trying to drag me out of this comfortable situation to something that we're going to be back in like the past. If you drag,
I'm trying to show him a different way. I'm just trying to show him a different way of doing things. You ain't always got to be in the streets. What he wanted to do, you can place yourself in those type of situations to where you can get in what you want to get what you want. And guess what? That's exactly what happened. He went to Richland College, a community college, to take up communication. When he got in there, he wasn't even in there 3 good months. He linked up with some other people that got him hooked up with Def Jam Records. And then he had been doing that. And he just went from there. Wow. Yes.
So we're going to say it like this. And we're going to speed it up to the future now. From all that, the past and the experiences you had and those type of things, now let's speed it up to today, presently. What is your experience and what's your relationship like now that you have ironed all those differences out? He's out of jail. He stopped serving, doing stuff illegally. Are you currently situated in the house? What do you guys have as far as your children goes? Are they still in the home? What's going on with that? So talk about the future and what the relationship is like now.
So time went on. We're now together. We got married in 2016 of December.
Nice.
And we've been married now for 5 years. It'll be 6 years in December. And we've experienced so much in life. We had came to a point where we were both just sick of it. Like, what are we doing individually? And I was searching for something. He was searching for something. And we were searching really for each other, simply put. And so he made a change of going back to studying to be a Jehovah's Witness, something that he grew up in. That was his religion. Something he never practiced when we were together. Nice. And so I've always had a prayer to God about what kind of husband I wanted. And it might seem strange. I don't know what you want to call it, but when I met your brother, I knew he was supposed to be my husband. No matter what we went through, I always knew that. So I said to myself, if it's meant for us to be together, he'll come back. And so here we are. He's trying to get right with God. Now, my prayer was my husband had to be a God-fearing man for me to even begin to entertain anything.
Amazing.
God had to lead him in everything we did because that's the only way I was going to marry anybody.
Amazing.
And he told me, he's like, man, I'm about to start studying. You know, I just sat back and watched. And so I would come over and visit with him and the kids and stuff like that. And he would be tempted with just my presence. And I'm just like, bruh, like, don't do that. Don't make me feel guilty because what you're trying to do, I support that.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? I support that because I know you need that.
Right, right. It's just something big that a person can come from where you guys came from to now a stability and a relationship. But my thing is what I want to bring out to everybody who's listening as well. This relationship was something in the beginning that started out a madhouse, so to speak. The cheating, the lies, the living home from home, no stability, reckless,
Chaos.
Kids after kids. I thought about abortions. I come from this. I learned this. I see this. I changed my whole way of doing things. He come home to a new person. Now you go back from all that. You come now to the future. In 2022, as we speak, you stable, you married, y'all God-fearing, and you have four adorable children with, not to mention the grandkids as well. This is something that we need to learn as women, though. So what I want to say about this is you can have the experience of having this chaos, but she didn't give up hope because this was something she said in her mind. She knew already that she was going to marry this man, which is my brother. And she said she was going to marry this man and everything had to come full circle. But it worked out in the end.
Mm-hmm.
We go head out of here. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure, everybody. Just take that experience and run with it. That just because it started out rocky don't necessarily mean it's going to end that way. She went with her gut feeling, her emotions, but she did pick up the slack where it was slacking and found out, I got to take this now and run with this. So we're going to end it here, but it was nice having you on here.
Likewise, glad to be here. I hope somebody can learn, maybe understand or can relate in some kind of way.
Yep.
You've been listening to Lauren the Pecuniary Coach podcast. Be sure to never miss an episode and stay connected on Insta at CCYA84, TikTok at Pecuniary Coach, Facebook at Lauren Marbury, or the Pecuniary Coach YouTube channel. Like what you hear? Subscribe, share this episode with your friends, and leave a review. See you next time with more juicy topics.